Hi guys, I'm Dharma Helper, and this is DH Reviews. This is my Season 1, Episode 2 review of Constantine. If you missed my live review of the pilot of Constantine, there will be a link in the description of the video to the full live stream, as well as an annotation behind me on the screen. You can click either of those, and that'll take you right to that video for you to watch that. With that being said, this is Season 1, Episode 2, The Darkness Beneath, and in this episode, the main story is Constantine investigating another one of those blots on the map that Liv left him. And this blot is in a mining town where miners are being killed by vengeful spirits, and Constantine has to figure out why and what's going on with that. And he figures out that the spirits are Coblinites or Coblinoids or something like that. I forget exactly what they're called. I'm going to call them Coblinites. Coblinites who are traditionally peaceful spirits of dead miners who warn other miners of dangers, and they do so by knocking. And that's sort of the telltale sign that miners are talking about in the town, is that they hear the knocking. And so the idea that Constantine gets is that somebody is controlling these spirits and forcing them or directing them into being violent and killing these people. And also in this episode we meet Zed, who in the last episode, the first episode, we saw a little bit in a scene of her drawing Constantine, and she had all those drawings of Constantine that we know are actual events in his life and very recent events, because she drew that picture of him in the alley, and she was in the promos and stuff, and we actually get to see her and what her deal is in this episode. And she helps Constantine get to the bottom of things and figure out what's going on with the mine, and Constantine at the end of the episode figures out that the reason that this person who has been controlling these demons is able to do so is because the darkness that has been creeping into the world since episode 1 is corrupting things and sort of changing the rules and allowing this person to control and manipulate these otherwise peaceful and harmless sort of guardian spirits. And so I thought that was good that they tied that into the overall arcing sort of story, and kept that in the back of our minds here in this second episode. So that's the story of the episode. And let's talk about the characters. And the main two characters of this episode are obviously Constantine and Zed. So let's start off talking about Constantine. And the first point that I want to make about Constantine is the thing that impressed me the most about Constantine is that he always seems to have an ace up his sleeve. And in the first episode, it was with the lightning spirit, where he had the lightning spirit trapped in that circle, and he revealed his plan and his trap. And then in this episode, he, when speaking to the person that, when confronting the person that was responsible for these attacks, he initially looks like he's going to lose, and then he was able to turn one of the Coblinites against this person, and make them sort of attack this person. And I'm trying not to give away spoilers. That's why I'm trying to be very careful about how I phrase this. But he makes one of the spirits turn against the person that was responsible for all these attacks, and just to see that he was able to do that, and to see him exercise his knowledge and his, not only his knowledge of the occult and spirits and stuff like that, but his clever mind and his sort of ingenuity. I thought that was a huge point of that character, was that this person, Constantine, is very clever, and he's very intelligent, and he's very expert in the way that he handles himself. And the second point I want to bring up is, again, that relationship that we see in this episode between Constantine and Zed. It sort of reminds me of almost a Sherlock Holmes-John Watson relationship, or if you've ever seen Doctor Who, Doctor Who and his companions, or if you watch Scorpion, Walter and Paige. And when I say all that, what I'm talking about is that Constantine is this person who is an expert. He's very intelligent. He's highly skilled, and he's above everybody else. But Zed is able to knock him down a peg and is able to keep up with him, and much in the way that Doctor Who's companions knock him down a peg and keep up with him, and how Watson keeps up with Sherlock. These otherwise superior genius level characters have that companion or that associate that's able to keep up with them in a way that nobody else is, and is able to ground them. And so Zed serves as the way to ground Constantine, because otherwise, in this episode he interacts with a lot of people, and he's able to manipulate or stand above them in a number of ways. But with Zed, he's not able to do that. With Zed is able to keep up with him much better than anybody else, and much better than Liv did in the first episode. And I want to talk about that very briefly. And going back to that first episode, Liv served as a student to Constantine, and was not quite able to keep up with him or to grasp everything, and didn't quite have the stomach for it, which is why she left. And now transitioning into talking about Zed is able to keep up with Constantine, as I said, and she's able to stomach a lot of the stuff that goes on in this episode. And the thing about Zed is she's drawing Constantine, and she's obsessed almost with Constantine and with drawing him and his situation. And the thing that draws her, pun intended here, to Constantine is figuring out the mystery behind why she's drawing him all the time, and why she sees him, and why she is obsessed with him. And so, as I said, she keeps up with Constantine, and their back and forth was nice and entertaining to watch. And the thing that I want to talk about with Zed is that Constantine is able to unlock more behind her power, more behind just drawing the events that she sees. She's actually able to visualize and almost project herself into these events and see them in real time. And the question that I want to bring up to you guys is, are we going to see more of Zed's powers develop as she works with Constantine? Is this the extent of her abilities, or is she able to do a lot more? She's just not unlocked quite yet. Another thing that I wanted to bring up with Zed was the romantic sort of undertones of her relationship with Constantine. They have a number of scenes in this episode where they are very close in proximity, and it looks almost like they're getting ready to kiss or embrace or something like that. And so to see maybe a romantic relationship develop between these two characters would be kind of interesting to explore and interesting to look at in terms of future episodes or future seasons of the show. And so that's kind of the first possibility in terms of what their relationship would be like. But a second possibility is at the very end of the episode, Constantine has that monologue where he has that line where he says, there are two kinds of people, those that prey on you and those that pray for you. And the way that the scene was shot and the way that everything looked, it looked like they were implying or intimating that Zed might have ulterior motives for getting with Constantine and for involving herself with Constantine. And so whether or not she betrays Constantine or she hurts Constantine in the future is going to be kind of interesting to look at. So far, I get the impression that Constantine keeps people at a safe distance, not only for their safety, but for his safety. And so to see, again, if she is able to infiltrate that and the repercussions of that, whether positive or negative, I think that's going to be a huge part of their dynamic and their relationship for this first season. That's my prediction. If you have anything you want to add to that, leave that in the comments section and we'll talk about it. That's just about everything I wanted to talk about in terms of characters. Again, we didn't see a lot of any other character other than Zed and Constantine. We saw a little bit of Chaz, but not quite as much as I was thinking we might see from him, just given the impression of the first episode and how Constantine and Chaz are confidants and close and almost partners and friends. And we didn't see anything out of Archie, I think his name was Archie, or Manny in this episode. And so the sort of cast of characters that they introduced in episode 1 took a back seat to building the relationship between Zed and Constantine in this episode. And that'll bring me to transitioning to talking about my overall thoughts on the episode. I thought overall that it was a good episode and that the momentum of the series is good so far. We're getting a lot of that world building, and the way that was done with Constantine sort of explaining to Zed about the Coblenites and the way that everything was written. It explained the world of Constantine in a way that didn't quite beat us over the head with it or be too heavy-handed with it, and I enjoyed that, and I was glad to see that they weren't too heavy-handed with the world building and the exposition, but they were able to convey it clearly and in a way that made sense. So that was impressive for me to have seen that. I would have liked to, like I said, have seen more from Archie and Manny and Chaz, but it's only the second episode, so that's not a huge point against them quite yet, but more from them would be something that I would be interested in watching. And we didn't see anything out of Liv in this episode, but I think that's okay because she left, and I don't expect to see her come immediately straight back. What I would like to see maybe in the future, a flashback showing the relationship between Jasper, Liv's father, and Constantine, showing that relationship and what happened to Jasper in flashback form would be really cool, I think. But other than that, that was my impression was we're going to see more of those characters and more of Liv and more of that story in the future. And I'm not going to fault them for not packing this episode full of stuff because, like I said, that's a point actually in their favor in that they were able to convey things in a good pace so far. One thing that I did want to bring up again was that I was impressed that they reminded us of that story point from the first episode, that this creeping darkness is involved and things are happening that are sort of changing the rules and changing the way that things are and allowing people like the person that was responsible for these Coblenite attacks to do the things that this person was able to do. And I'm going to be interested in what other sort of repercussions that has and the ripple effect that this darkness provides. And going back to Manny, perhaps Manny and maybe a group of angels are trying to understand the darkness and the way that these rules are changing so that they can exploit it and seize power or do something like that. That's an early developing theory. And so I'm just keeping that in the back of my mind, is that this darkness is resulting in people being able to change the rules almost and to do things that normal magic or normal demonology wouldn't be able to do. And so I was glad that they continued that. And I'm going to be interested to see, as the darkness spreads, exactly how much the rules are going to change. And exactly what effect that has on Liv's abilities, Constantine's abilities, Zed's abilities, because all three of these people have magical aptitude, like the person in this episode who convinced the Goblinites to attack the miners. All Constantine, Liv, and Zed all have abilities and things like that. And so to see the ripple effect that this has on their abilities and whether it augments or corrupts them is going to be interesting to see. Other than that, like I said, pretty solid episode, nice pacing. I was glad that the story got conveyed in a way that made sense and that we got reminded almost very subtly about the overarching story of the season and possibly the series being this darkness. That'll wrap up my thoughts on the second episode, The Darkness Beneath. If you like this review, go ahead and leave a like and let me know that I'm headed in the right direction. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, subscribe to the channel and you'll see these reviews as they come out. I do Constantine reviews on Monday, Gotham reviews on Tuesday, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews on Wednesday, and Scorpion reviews on Thursday. Speaking of my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews, there's no Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review this week, but I will have a video out on Wednesday, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a sort of announcement video. There's going to be a lot of things that we can talk about in that video pertaining to the future of the channel, and it's going to be an important video for you guys to keep your eyes out on. So like the video here. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. Talk to me in the comments section down below or on Twitter at the DH Reviews about the episode and your thoughts on the episode. Share the video. Get it out there so that we can continue to grow the channel, and I can continue to do things like the live stream and stuff like that. With that being said, I've been Dharma Helper. This has been DH Reviews, and I will see you guys in the next video.